So hi, One of the Noise Podcast. I'm Shane.
I'm Glory.
And we're here with...
And I'm Bryson, and we're at Topiary Creatures.
And we're asking some questions today about their upcoming album, You Can Only Mourn Surprises. So congrats on that, by the way. How do you feel about the response to the announcement so far?
It's been good. I think we're both kind of in the camp of we just do this for like our own artistic satisfaction. So anytime anyone gets stoked about it, it feels like a weird bonus.
Yeah, I agree.
So he likes the songs. Mm-hmm. That's all that matters to me.
All right.
That's
okay.
Good. I just want to say I am a Taupe Creature stan. I'm proud of it, and this album was amazing.
Thank you.
So good job.
Yeah, I sent it to them early.
Yeah, this album was pretty good, and it seems like there's some people online that are excited, so that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, it's been cool seeing some little buzzes getting started around people that I have no idea how they found it. You know, starting tweeting about it.
Yeah,
because like even after Finterfest, you guys seem to have like the greatest response out of every single band that played across the 2 days. So it's cool to see that people from that then carried over and are still following you. Like almost a year
honestly,
later.
So much of that is from y'all's podcast and your festival. So that was like the biggest regret of this year was not being able to play the next Good Noise Fest. But hit us up for the next one because the album's done. We have some free time now. We're gonna do some shows. So
all right. Well,
for sure.
We already had a conversation, and there is one that will happen. It just didn't happen this winter.
Cool.
Yeah. So, is there any meaning behind the album name or cover arts?
Yes. This is maybe the one part I'll rant for a second. So the album's called You Can Only Mourn Surprises, and it's kind of the short version is that it's about letting go of like hopes and expectations and dreams for your life that are keeping you from being happy where you are. Mm-hmm. And what I like about that topic, and specifically the line "You can only mourn surprises," is that people hear it in like two different ways, right? So the way that I initially wrote it was like a pouty like defense mechanism thing. It was like, well, if I'm always expecting the worst, I'll never be bummed when bad things happen to me. Grumble, grumble, grumble. Mm-hmm. It was like very pessimistic. And that was years ago. Didn't think much of it. I revisited the line years later and kind of saw it through like a healthier, more helpful lens that was like, if I'm thankful for what's in front of me, I'm not focusing on the future. I don't have expectations for the future, so I'm not going to be surprised from whatever comes. It kind of like my relationship to that line and the idea of hope itself totally changed, and like not having hope like suddenly became a comforting thing that was like very helpful. And I'm not claiming to have invented the idea of like getting rid of hope for enlightenment. Like Buddhists have been like talking about that forever. But what I think this album does do really well is it opens and closes with the same line. The first time you hear You Can Only Mourn Surprises, it is like that pessimistic, that angry, confused, very visceral thing. And at the end, it's like more comforting and like anthemic. And everything in the middle like tells a story of like getting to that place and learning how to like be present with your life and like let go of old ideas about yourself and dreams that aren't helping you be happy. So that's the long-winded version that wouldn't fit in an Instagram caption. And then what was this? Oh, the album art was the second part of that. Mm-hmm. That was done by my buddy who was my old roommate from art school, Zach Raven. He just I like gave him that spiel and he like sent me a few sketches, and as soon as I saw that one, I was like, yep, that's it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little about your writing process for this album?
Writing process was a little different for this one. So I like demoed the songs myself, like how I usually do for most of the records. But I moved to Nashville in January and brought the songs to this guy because we started this little studio. It's called Brother Daddy Studios. We've been recording some people's music. But anyway, this album was kind of like the guinea pig, so to speak, of like what we can do as producers and like how to use all this new gear that we bought. So it was cool. Like I like did, the drums and keys and lyrics and whatever, and like Nathaniel coming in and like adding his spin with like bass and so many other like mixed things and auxiliary instruments and banjos and like other guitars that he has like really brought it to life. And I think like helped the writing a ton. So I don't know if you want to speak to that at all, how you usually.
I mean, I think you nailed it.
Yeah.
All right.
Perfect.
I'm talking too much. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
You're all good. So I want you two to tell us your favorite lyric off this album and the meaning behind it.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Frick. I have a few, so you start if you have one. Nathaniel did help with a lot of lyrics too. I know I said that I usually demo them myself, but we like workshop everything together now, which is
very cool.
That's awesome.
Maybe off of the song yet to be released, Water Bottle Sake.
Mm-hmm.
The line that says, "Your name getting carved on a monument doesn't make you part of it."
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just a kind of a cool lyric.
Yeah,
right.
I think my favorite might be from, there's a song called Halloween on the new record that's like about identity, and there's a line that says, "If I laid out my costumes from the last 5 Halloweens, then you'd never have to ask any questions about me." And I think that's a cool line because it has a lot. I keep finding myself like coming back to the implications of that thought a lot. So I think that's my answer. I'll hold off on honorable mentions so I don't like about my
You're all good.
Be here for a while.
Yeah.
So what song on the album took longest to write, and which one is your personal favorite?
I think Water Bottle Sake might have been the longest, right?
Yeah, I think so. There's a lot of just different dynamics in that song.
He did so many versions of it too.
That's true as well.
I feel like there was like an 8-minute version, and then there was like a 2-minute version, and then I don't know where it landed somewhere in between, right? It's like 4 or 5 now.
Yeah.
Also, Halloween, I almost cut so many times, so I feel like we spent a lot of time with that. But
yeah, it seems like for the longest time there's like just something missing, but
I think we were overthinking like the structure.
Yeah.
And then we just like turned it back to like what it originally was, and it felt so much better.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
it's funny how that goes sometimes.
Yeah. What's your favorite?
My favorite, I mean, maybe Water Bottle Sake, but I definitely like Fog a lot.
Mm-hmm. Fog that's the last track on side A. I think it's track 6. Like, listen for the bass parts on that because that's like Nathaniel is going ham. I think my favorite's Black Rose Colored Glasses.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's like the second track, and it's like, I think it is the most aggressive display of the typical Tope Creech, like crazy drums and synths that are just like all over the place. Also, the lyrics are pretty personal because it's about some friends and depression, and yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think Black Rose Colored Glasses is my favorite.
I would just like to say I love the song titles. Very creative. I love them very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Did you guys have a favorite listening through? I was like hearing.
I only listened to it once. I don't have a favorite yet.
Sorry. My favorite, I think it's Sunburned.
Okay.
Volume 5. That one was my favorite. I think it's Sunburned. Is that right?
Yeah, that's like, I think that's my second favorite.
Okay.
Yeah, it just it was so good. It was so good. Anyways, sorry. So how did the track list for this album come about? Did you guys write the opener to be the opener, close to be the closer? Just kind of shuffle it around, listen through a couple of times. What was that process like?
I think we tried it a few different ways, didn't we?
Yeah, we did first.
I think the openers and closers were definitely written to be that, though. Mm-hmm. Like, we had all the songs, and I think we like changed the order a bunch of times, but like we always knew what the opener and closer tracks would be, because like with such a story-based album, we kind of needed like clear introduction and clear like tying of the bow.
Yeah, but it was an interesting combination between that and then also just transitions. Just like from a musical standpoint. If you, I don't know if he called it out before he shared the tunes with you, but they just kind of flow one song to the next one. And as far as just how to, if there's a major key change, just having that instrumentally work and flow from just a side A collective versus the side B collective. That was also an important factor. Yeah,
that's a good point. That was like one of my favorite parts about the record is we spent so much time like sitting at the Rhodes keyboard right there, like just being like, all right, this song ends in that key. Like, how the heck do we get it to like start on a tritone for the next song? Like, Nathaniel's like a whiz at theory, and I'm like a whiz in theory in training. So like,
yeah.
So we
together I'd say we pulled it off pretty well.
Yeah, but we spent a lot of time being like, if I fuck with the knob of this pedal, like, will this weird sound like transition into the next one a lot? So yeah. Once we had the order, like making it like flow together was like a big task, and one of the most fun things about it too, I think.
All right.
Sure.
So where was your headspace at while you guys were writing this album?
I think while like writing it initially, my headspace was very like, I was cooped up in my tiny San Francisco apartment, like dreaming of leaving, and eventually leaving. And even though I was like very at the end of my rope, I think with like my life there and just how I was feeling, I was like so at the end of my rope that I like knew I was going to restart and do something new. So there was like a sense of opportunity with it too, even though I was like, felt kind of like hopeless. It kind of like was like comforting in a weird way. And then I think there's also like a sense of opportunity when we were like recording it too. Because like I said, this record is kind of like the guinea pig for like our studio. So it's like we were figuring out what we could do and like how we can make things. And it was just like, it felt like something new, you know?
All right.
At the beginning of something, which is cool. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So how do you recommend your fans to listen to this album for the first time? Should they play it in the car with friends, in the dark with headphones on? Should they blast at a party? What do you guys personally recommend?
Listen with your dad.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I feel like headphones usually, captures the hi-fi sound of most things. And there are a lot of, I don't know, some song like Black Rose Colored Glasses, for instance, there's a lot of complexity that you might miss, if you're driving down the road versus just normal headphones or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, that's actually my serious answer too, is like go on a walk and put your favorite headphones on and just like try to absorb it. Cause like, and I know people talk about this, like my brother who's a musician too, we talk about this a lot, like a good song should be able to do both, right? It should be good like in the car with friends or at a pregame or in the background or at the gym. But like, I never think of that stuff. I just like think of like, what's going to be cool if I'm just sitting here listening to music. And that's like all my favorite records, like the New World Is record that came out. I was like, that's like, I'm so obsessed with it. And like, as soon as it came out, I was like, nobody talked to me for like an hour and a half. I'm just going on a walk with headphones. And like, I feel like I would have never gotten that experience had I just like played it in the car, like in pieces. So
yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So this question should be super, super quick. Off the top of your head, I want you to describe this album for new listeners in 3 words. No more, no less. Both of you have to do it.
Oh, do it. I'm going back and forth. Do I do something stupid or do I give a serious answer? like maximalist nerd punk, maybe?
Okay.
Or I feel like I should mention like Furbies. I have a thing for Furbies in the studio. There's a few of them laying around here.
Okay.
Oh. Do you enjoy having things watch you while you work?
I do. We've got this guy. I think you met the long one last time, and you were really scared by it.
I don't like them.
There's even more.
I'll go grab the other one while you think of.
I think we're good.
3 words. Can I repeat any of the words he used?
You can.
The original words.
I fucking hate that thing.
I don't like that.
Get rid of it.
I don't like that.
It's gonna make an appearance every time we talk.
That thing has its own chair in his living room.
No.
It's like a throne.
It shares it with a Korok, like one of the Koroks from Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
They share the chair, but yeah, he's right.
Don't like that.
I definitely think maximalist was a good word for this. Just from a, like I mentioned, some of the complexity in the tones.
Yeah,
off the top, don't think too hard.
Knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah.
Juice box.
Yeah, juice box. That's a good one.
Okay.
There's a song with the title. And then I mean, really just fun. Like we had fun doing it, making it.
Yeah, part of the reason I put the word nerd in mine is like it's nerdy in the sense that we like use like old video game samples, but it's also nerdy because like we're like theory nerds and had way too much fun adding weird chords and stuff. So
fair enough.
Yeah. Sorry, that wasn't as succinct of an answer on my part, but
no, you're all good.
All good.
Yeah, from the theory perspective to just the recording of it, and so A lot of it was just recorded like in the basement, locally.
Hell yeah,
locally.
Perfect. Are you about to speak, Shane?
No,
oh, okay.
I'm just stretching, man.
All right. So, is there a certain feeling or emotion you want this album to invoke in your listeners?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
I mean, some of that probably is at like a song per song basis, I would imagine.
Yeah, because I think the record does span a bunch of emotions, right? So like, I think ideally you'd have someone track with all of them, since it is kind of a story thing. But when I think about like what I want people to feel from the record, there's kind of like two things that I notice that like the feelings that I get from music that make a song or an album my favorite is like, first is like feeling inspired. Like when I listen to the Brave Little Abacus, every time I have a moment of like, shit, like I'm so mad I didn't write that. That's cool. I'm going to go sit down and play things that are similar to that. So if it can inspire someone to do something that is exciting to them, that's cool. And then also like whatever is like the opposite of like being alone. So I guess like feeling seen is important. Like, and I think a lot of that comes from the lyrics, like especially on this album, I worked really hard to like write lyrics that were more zoomed in to specific references and, you know, that people would relate with. And sometimes that means they're going to be more esoteric. Like not everyone's going to relate with the line, but like for an example, like in the third track, Exit 100 and whatever, there's a line that says, I've been looking for love in details on the ground outside any Georgia rest stop. And it's like, do I think everyone is going to be like, oh yeah, that's me? Like no one's going to like blast that at a club and be like, yeah, we all know what this means. But I know there are people like me out there who are addicted to going on road trips and dreaming of other lives that they could live in cities when they go. And I know that people like know exactly what I'm talking, like few people know exactly what I'm talking about. Or like there's another line in Fog that says, that's like reminiscing on like a past relationship and where they are now. And there's a line that says, I wonder what the outlets in your room look like. I think like missing those things about being with someone is like, a lot of people like feel that, but maybe like wouldn't think to say that or didn't realize that they were feeling that. So all that to say, I think this record is like a lot of those little stories and a lot of those little anecdotes that form the bigger thing. And I think if I would love for everyone to have like one of those things that like resonates with them and like they think about later and like maybe comforts them to know that like they're not the only one that like thought or felt that or didn't realize that they thought or felt that. Because those are like my favorite lyrics when that kind of stuff like bites me in the face. So
all right.
That's kind of, yeah.
All right. So what band or artist influence you think you can hear the most on this album, if any?
I think Nathaniel's additions might be more interesting to this because it's like no news to anyone that I'm like World Is, Hotelier, Brave Little Abacus, like Anamanaguchi and Knocked Loose are like that. I mean, I feel like I talk about that on the internet all the time too. But Nathaniel's flair with like, I think your style like is what made this record sound more special. So I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can speak to like Fog. It's very different than some of the things I pulled from. Like for the bass line and how it kind of rolls, it kind of reminded me of a song by Wolfpack, Deantown, where Joe Dart's kind of just holding that note until it breaks into the more funky parts. It kind of has that kind of just like rolling bass line in the background for Fog. You're most of it. So kind of adding a little bit of a different sounds than what you might have heard on like the last record.
Yeah,
it was kind of interesting.
And we overlap a lot too. Like we both are obsessed with like Manchester Orchestra, like mainly older Manchester Orchestra. I don't know if you guys have opinions on the newer record or not, but
didn't like it very much.
Yeah, it didn't hit.
It was bad too because we were like,
right?
Maybe.
In the back of my head, I was like gonna send an interview request, and then we listened to the record, both trashed on it. On the podcast, and I was like, we can't do that anymore.
You get on there, Andy Hull's like, so y'all are the ones who've been dragging my name through the net.
I watched that, you know.
Yeah,
it was disappointing. I was a big fan of Black Mamba Surface for sure.
Yeah, that record rips.
That was awesome, but that one kind of like pulled from some of their like earlier sounds from you know, like A Virgin Losing a Child and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to see some of that resurface. But
Yeah, Nathaniel, I think definitely brings out the side of me that's like more straightforward, gritty indie rock stuff too. Like their old Manchester Orchestra. Like, remember you even showed me like Discover America and like 238 and stuff. Like, yeah, I feel like that's like a big overlap for us. And he's getting me more into like music that uses other instruments, and I'm getting him more into punk music, so it kind of works out.
Yeah. All right.
Love it. Yeah, more and more.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite memory that you made while creating this record?
Oh, that's a sweet question. I don't know what you were thinking of when you laughed. I was laughing, thinking of, so I moved to this house in Nashville, like at the very beginning of January. The record was already demoed. So like, as soon as I got in here, the next day I had drums set up in the basement, tested, and I was playing every day just for like a week straight, just tracking stuff, because I was so excited to get it done. And I hadn't met any of my neighbors yet.
Oh no.
Right here is a sweet lady. She's so nice. Like, we're chill now. She gives me gardening advice and whatnot, but she like came over and she's like, hey, I know we haven't met. I just want to know if this is going to be an everyday thing. I'm like, no, oh shit, I'm a terrible neighbor.
Sorry, I'm tracking an album, man. You don't quite understand.
Yeah, I'll give you a copy of the vinyl when it's done. Did you have one? I mean, lots of just dumb, good inside jokes in here, like from recording it.
I mean, honestly, but just kind of like setting up the studio down in the basement, just like routing all the wires and just like troubleshooting different things. Like, why the heck is this mic not working? It's plugged in, and then find out, oh, the other one was plugged in.
The elation of figuring it out.
Yeah, one of the other 10 cables that was plugged in.
Yeah. also, one of I think maybe my favorite memory is in the intro track, A Complicated Relationship with Hope. There's this like key solo part. Nathaniel was like going through, like figuring out bass parts, like listening to what I was playing, like building on it. And then he's like, I can do that. He's like, I can do that solo too. And it's like the craziest piano solo I've ever done. And he just like, it takes him like 5 seconds and he figures out the bass. And it was kind of a joke at first. And then we're like, no, keep it in there. It sounds wild as hell.
Yeah, it made it on there.
Yeah, so lots of little things that started as jokes musically. And then we're like, no.
Actually though.
Yeah.
Right.
Perfect.
All right. So picture this. You're on tour. You're at a gas station for a rest stop. What is your snack of choice?
What is my snack of choice?
Yes.
It's got to be jalapeno chips. Okay. But there's a specific like tier list. Like Zaps are the best. If they don't have those, Miss Vicky's are good. If they don't have those, the Lay's Kettle ones. The Lay's Kettle ones. If they don't have that, it's like whatever generic brand. And then if they still don't have that, then like the Kettle brand jalapeno chips. Bottom tier, but jalapeno chips are the go-to.
All right.
For me, if I'm feeling sweet, maybe like a Snickers. It's one of my favorite of the candies. And then for like a chip type deal, I agree Zapp's is kind of top notch.
Yeah, we go get those a lot.
But I think my favorite of theirs is the Voodoo one, because it's kind of like a salt and vinegar meets barbecue.
Do they have Zapp's for y'all? Because you're in like Washington and Virginia, right?
Close enough.
New Jersey. Yeah, New Jersey and
Why
Virginia.
did I think Virginia? Sorry, I have friends in New Jersey. I should know this. But do they have Zapp's up there? I know it's like a New Orleans thing.
No.
Never
heard of them before.
Yeah.
If you come across some Voodoo.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by the Voodoo flavor.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's like, I love both of those, and then just like together, it's just like this atomic bomb of flavor. It's awesome.
Hell yeah.
Gotta try that now. Yeah. All right. So on the topic of food, if the band was a dish, what dish would the band be?
Would it be just something that culinarily sucks? Because I think half the thing that's cool about Topiary Creatures, it's so eclectic. Like you'll get like a melodica and then like a baritone guitar and an acoustic and then screams and then chill stuff, and then like would it just be like a first grader trying to make something way too ambitious?
Wow.
It's just like a bunch of things just like sort of don't go together, but kind of do.
It's like in Zelda. Do you play Zelda? Do you know Breath of the Wild? It's like when you when you mix things that don't, it just creates dubious food, and it like isn't good for you. It's like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Sure.
No, that's about. I mean, if I had to answer, if I had to answer seriously, like, I don't know. I'm partial to say like a seafood ramen that's like pretty spicy.
Ooh.
I think that's a good answer.
That's also like my favorite food, maybe. So I'm biased, but
yeah. But I mean, especially like with seafood ramen, there's just like a lot of different things in there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you kind of mentioned earlier the different instruments and the kind of the theme of complexity in some of these songs. I think that's a good dish.
Nice with some spice.
Yeah.
All right.
Perfect.
So for the last couple questions, we're going to shift away from music. So, if you could be one animal for the rest of your life, what animal would you be and why?
Ooh.
I haven't thought about this question in a while. My ego says like a shark of some sort, like a black tip shark or something. I think they just look so cool. I would just like swim around knowing I look the coolest. Or elephants. No, I was gonna say elephants are smart, but they have kind of shitty lives. Watched a documentary on them recently. Not good. Or it's just like hard for them, like global warming and stuff. I'm gonna go shark. It's got to be a shark.
I'd probably say just like a dog, just because like they have it fucking made.
Yeah.
Like my dog just is like the king of the house, basically.
All right.
And they do nothing.
I know, and it's amazing, and I'm jealous. Very jealous of the dog.
Me too. So if you could have lunch with any celebrity or artist dead or alive, who would it be?
Oh my gosh. You know what's funny is like a similar question to this is people always say like, if you could pick like any 5 people like to have dinner with, like I always thought that question is stressful as hell, because like, oh my God, I wouldn't know what to do. I would have to like force so many important questions in there. So I like this framing of the question better.
Thank you.
You get one person. I feel like I'm tempted to say like Friedrich Nietzsche because I'm a nerd, but maybe just like a random I think like, so I'm kind of a history nerd. I think like getting a random person from like the Roman Empire, like not like someone who was like controlling the narrative of the history books, like, but if you just like sit down with like a peasant and get an actual view into like how life was back then, I think that'd be pretty interesting. That's kind of a nerdy
really cool.
But
no, it's good. I never would have thought of that.
Yeah.
I'd probably say Nikola Tesla, just because he kind of discovered / invented most of what we use on a day-to-day basis without like really even, I don't know, getting any credit for it, basically.
All right.
It's also interesting.
Yeah, his whole backstory is really interesting. I feel like he'd be an interesting person to talk to for sure.
Good answers,
that'd be
guys.
a good lunch. Yeah.
Good answers.
Good lunch indeed.
So for this last question, boom, you're on a desert island. You can bring one movie, one album, and one person. Who and what are you bringing?
Say one movie, one album,
and one person.
One person. I'm bringing Bryson.
That's cute.
That's for sure.
He didn't say his wife.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Daniel's married. Sorry, Brittany, if you're listening to this. He was joking.
Yeah.
Totally.
Of course.
I'm gonna say. Wait, so you said a movie, a person, and what?
And an album.
An album.
An album. It's got to be Nickelback's self-titled.
Oh.
Gotta be. It's got to be Adam Sandler.
Oh.
Click starring Adam Sandler.
Wow, you're on a roll. God.
Listen, I respect the Adam Sandler.
No, you shouldn't.
I love Adam Sandler,
You
man.
shouldn't.
I love Adam Sandler.
You shouldn't.
It would be real answer. Pompeii's mean Nothing Happens for a Reason. That's my album. I bring
still Adam Sandler.
My Little Brother.
And
then Satoshi Kon's Paprika. It's my favorite movie.
Okay.
Also what the outro track is named after.
Very cool.
Perfect.
I would bring Bryson if my wife's not available.
She just says no.
Yeah, like, I don't wanna, that's too much.
I'm good. Yeah.
She might, honestly. That's
who knows? As far as an album, I might say the album called Phoenix by Pedro the Lion.
Oh,
listen to that thing too much.
Mm-hmm.
And then what was the third item?
Movie.
It's got to be Adam Sandler's Click.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I know, like you said it jokingly, but like.
No. No.
We have to address the elephant in the room here. Glory's the only one in the call currently that isn't an Adam Sandler fan, and that's fucked up.
I hate Adam Sandler. I hate him
actually
so
not.
Much.
I hate to like take away this alliance that we just formed, Shane, but I'm like not.
That's also fucked up. Am I the only Adam Sandler fan here?
Yes.
I'm so medium on him.
I like Adam Sandler sparingly.
Thank you.
Oh
yeah, I mean, you have to take him in bits and pieces.
Like Happy Gilmore is good.
Happy Gilmore is my favorite movie, actually. Yeah.
Is it?
I fucking love that movie. That is the only movie. Like, I'm not a movie guy, but that's the only one I'll actually watch.
Oh, like Diary of a Wimpy Kid was your favorite, because that's your a really good fictional
book.
World.
Like I read the books. I used to read back in the olden days. I used to read.
Yeah.
That was
in this scenario, are we stuck on an island? You said
yes.
Yeah, it's a desert island.
Okay, so I might bring like a childhood favorite movie just to reminisce better times because I'm stuck on a fucking island.
Oh,
sure.
And so it'd be Disney's A Goofy Movie.
Oh, fuck yeah!
All right, that's
very
good.
silly choice. That wasn't good. Why are you laughing?
Because it was that bad.
It wasn't good.
So as I said, that's all the questions we have today. Is there anything that you guys would like to plug?
I don't know. Listen to Good Noise podcast. Listen to our record when it comes out. We're trying to get vinyl. People are asking. It's expensive.
It is.
And it's backed up. But yeah, it's like, I don't think so. Check in on your friends if they're sad. Talk to them and keep showing your friends good music. And I don't know. I'm ranting now.
Yeah.
All right.
Take care, everybody.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, thank you for now. This guy's been Topiary Creatures, and we have been the Good Noise Podcast.